Shout out my boy Nika, the original one. He might be black, baby. It's been a minute, but we're back, baby, with One Piece chapter 1136. Honestly, with the anime on hiatus, anytime that Oda goes on break or there's a weekly Shonen Jump break, I'm starting to feel it a little bit because, man, it feels like it's been a minute. And I personally took a break from posting videos because I need to get my mental right, but I'm back and better than ever. Really excited to talk about this chapter because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of different things was revealed about the Elbaph lore, about Sun God Nika, about the Holy Knights being here. Just such a good chapter. We start off with everyone celebrating, and we know that the Giants, they don't get out much, so they don't know about the world. Luffy talking about how good the moose is. There's Usopp going and spreading God Usopp propaganda and how he was the one to take down Oars, and we know how that was more so a team effort rather than Usopp just doing his thing. There's Jinbei talking about how blue his skin is, and Jinbei, he's like, hey, you know, if you were to ever go to Fishman Island, there's many skin tones as there are fish in the sea. Sanji, and how he's able to resonate with a giant that says that he wants to see a mermaid, talking about Mermaid Cove, it's heaven. But guess what, Sanji, the ladies man that he is, he ends up diverting his attention, going back to the female giants, talking about, hey, you guys are all beautiful too, and they're eating it up, talking about how cute Sanji is and how he's just this fun guy to be around. And Brook, you know what he's doing. And then we circle back to Zoro and Nami, because as I mentioned, the giants, they're ignorant to the world because they're just so secluded and only are in Elbaph. And all of a sudden Road, he ends up popping up. He got effed up. They actually let him off of his crucifixion pole, which is, you know, kind of cool to see. I know Rhodes a weirdo, but well, him being crucified like that was kind of crazy. But he apologized to Nami, and he didn't even call Zoro by his name. He called him the other Straw Hat. Y'all already know we're in the ore farming era. You got Piccolo, you got Sung Jin Woo, Aizen, just so many names. Zoro's up there too because he tells Road, hey, you don't have to apologize. It's not like anyone died. Although that's only because Usopp stopped me. He stops drinking. He looks Road dead in his face and is like, if he didn't, it would have been your head. That is so cold. That is D1 aura farming right there. And it's kind of crazy because Road, I know that he thinks that giants are superior and all of that, but at the same time, you also should not be ignorant to who you capture, because there very well could be a strong pirate amongst them, hence the Straw Hats. Road didn't look at his bounty, so he didn't know that Zoro had over 1 billion berry bounty. And Gerd, she's sitting up in here trying to encourage Zoro, like, hey, next time go ahead, ask him real quick. And I just love the interaction that's happening with all the Straw Hats, the giants, during this party. And Road, he brings up something really interesting, how everyone that was born on Elbaph, they dream to become the next sun god and rule the world. I love how there's so many different thoughts and so many different perspectives of the legend of Sun God Nika. You heard it a little bit with Kuma, and for the most part it's about the same, but you know, with Kuma, with Vegapunk, just, you know, the little snippets that we get, and we're finally learning about it at Elbaph, because obviously different times different people were available to get the information. Like for example, Luffy and Zoro, they weren't there when Vegapunk was given the whole explanation, because, well, I think Zoro was lost. No, Zoro was protecting the Sunny, and then Luffy, he was fighting Lucci in that time. But according to the Harley text, which essentially is like Elbaph's history of ancient texts that have a little bit of knowledge about Sun God Nika, it's hard to say whether or not that this text is accurate. Some of it is a little bit more open-ended to really figure out whether or not what is the truth. But something that can be said is that the world has been destroyed twice before, and we can infer that it's based off of the ancient weapons. But the person in the middle of all of it is Sun God Nika, and this is where the debate on whether or not he's the world's savior or if he's the world destroyer. All we know is that he has the power to make a big change, which you can honestly see because, well, Luffy being the person he is, yes, we know that Luffy's a good guy, but at the same time, he does whatever he wants. So just because you have the power, and like, I think most people can agree that you should probably do good, but you could have this great power and still do whatever the hell you want with it, whether it's good or bad. And I also shout out my boy Nika, the original one. he might be black, baby. But if you guys have made it this far into the video and you're enjoying the content, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. I pump out One Piece content almost each and every day. Luffy's obviously ignorant to who Nika is, and so now that he's gotten this knowledge, he's like, oh, okay, I see why Bonnie was talking about how I resemble him so much, because of having the white clothing and having this laugh that is very contagious, and the fact that he ends up saving and liberating people, you know, they kind of fit. Similar to Road and how he wanted to be the sun god, all the giants did, and even Loki, hence why he ended up killing King Harald. They go into a little bit more detail about how Loki ended up killing King Harald, and I think we'll probably get Loki's flashback probably once he's freed. But something, and I've mentioned this a few different times, I'm a firm believer that Loki isn't a bad guy, because the way that they talk about him and the way that Luffy talks about him, saying, hey, he's a good guy and everybody's against him, we know that Luffy has the ability to read whether or not someone is good or not based off of like their hockey and just like the type of person that Luffy is. So the fact that Luffy wasn't ever scared or had any or noticed any ill intent towards Loki until he said something about Shanks, which we found out why Loki feels that way. I'm a firm believer that I don't think Loki's a bad guy. But it was foretold that one of King Harald's sons would end up killing him, and then the Horse of Fortune, they end up being killed, which was in the same year that Linlin killed the legendary hero Zoro. The queen passed. It was just a lot of tragedy that happened at Elbaph. Heck, during all of this, we even found out that Zoro, the reason why he has a sword in between his head is because he tried to stop Loki, and that's ended up what happened. However, the person that stopped Loki from running rampant happened to be red-haired Shanks, and a lot of us, including myself, speculated this based off of when we found out that Shanks became an emperor 6 years ago. So I cannot wait to see that battle of Loki versus Shanks. And the reason why I want to bring this up as well is because, well, I don't want to necessarily say Loki was a fraud, but if Shanks became a Yonko 6 years ago, I don't think Shanks, his strength has gotten weak or anything. It's probably gotten stronger for sure, but I don't think 6 years ago Shanks was like considerably weaker than what he is now. And this is not to say that Loki was one-shotted or anything like that. It just shows that if it took Shanks to capture him, then Loki, yeah, he's definitely going to be strong. I also love the Luffy Zoro interaction, because Zoro, he's like, Luffy, you've been on edge this entire time, like what's up? Figuring out that Loki and Shanks had a connection, that Luffy wanted to end up freeing him because Loki says he knows Shanks' whereabouts, which it's a little bit of a lie, but at the same time probably true. We know that they have some form of a connection because Shanks whooped his ass in the past, but the fact that Shanks was just at this island, you could probably infer with Loki's ability to use hockey. He could probably tell that Shanks, or the direction he went in. At the same time, it's kind of hard because hockey, having, when you have a Sea Prism Stone on, it's not possible to use. But nevertheless, Zoro, he's going with Luffy to end up freeing Loki, and if shit hits the fan, then Zoro's gonna put a stop to it. I say Zoro and people are gonna get mad, but Luffy as well. And also Nami's here. It's pretty cool because she's a navigator. She's really only here to go and steal the gold from the castle, but because they're going there to go get Loki's keys. But I love seeing the trio here. It feels like we haven't seen these three in forever. I also love that Road, he tried to get close to Nami. He was like, hey, Nami, we're both navigators. Nami's like, nah, cut that shit out. I also love Zeus. He's like, hey, you're Nami's third slave. It goes me, then it goes Sanji, then it goes you. Like, what? Zeus, you're proud of that? The chapter ends with the Holy Knights. They made their way to the underworld and they are in front of Loki. They were here in order to recruit him. However, Loki's like, I ain't joining you guys. You guys are celestial dragons, right? I don't want to be working with scum of the world. And Gunko, who is the Holy Knight, who it appears that her ability, she can manipulate her clothes into bandages or hardened bandages, I guess. But she also has an arrow at the end of it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Emu. I don't really think it's anything too much to pay attention to, but that's something I wanted to know. But she's pissed, and we see one of the dangerous beasts who is about to attack these two. However, Gunko, she ends up wrapping that shit up, and she ends up hanging the wolf. Was like, hey, if you work with us, then we'll let him free, which I don't necessarily know if they will or they won't. They're holy knights and they don't really give a fluff about what's right and what's wrong. But Loki, he stands on business and I respect it. He's like, hey, the wolf is just gonna have to die, because as a warrior of Elbaph, I'm standing on business. I ain't about to let you guys punk me and manipulate me. If you want to kill me, go ahead, kill me. I don't care. At the same time, he's like, guess what? You do that, you killed him. It sucks. Don't get it wrong, but I'll swallow my fury, and then I'm gonna use that as fuel whenever I turn the world into rubble. I like him. I like Loki a lot, and I cannot wait till he gets freed. Also, I want to know like what the matchups is going to be, because there's a girl here, there's the Hanks, and then Loki. If they end up setting him free, you have Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. Who's gonna fight who? It's probably gonna be Nami versus Gunko, maybe Zoro versus Hanks, and then Luffy ends up stopping Loki. Really cool, really good chapter. Way to welcome us back to One Piece. Really excited, and guess what? There's no break next week. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know how you guys feel about this chapter in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow my Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.